there, I'm Tiffany Lord, founder of Love Asana, and I'm here to share about props. So I get a lot of questions about what kind of mat should I have? Why are you suggesting that? And does it even really matter what kind of mat I get if I'm practicing yoga? I just need a mat. So we're gonna break some of that down. All right, so first of all, I would say yes, it matters just for your own comfort. So what I wanna show you first is just your basic yoga mat. So this is my favorite mat. This is my mat through the years. Been with me through power yoga practice 5 days a week. So it's actually a very great sturdy mat, hugger mugger, totally recommend it. But this is pretty much a typical yoga mat that you will find. It's very thin. This one is about 2 millimeters-ish probably. It's a standard length, so I'm about 5'3", so this is about 5 feet, a little over 5 feet long. So that's a perfect length for me. If you're taller, you can look for a long or an extra long mat. They do make them, they do exist. So this one is great if you don't have any issues. If you don't have any knee issues, ankle issues, spine issues. So if we think about where we're putting this thin mat on a wood floor or maybe even a tile floor if you're at home, and if you're lying on that or if you're kneeling on that for an extended period of time, we want you to be comfortable. So if just me doing this, you're like, oh yeah, no, that wouldn't work, then you're gonna wanna look for something thicker, okay? One other thing I wanna point out too is this is a grippy mat. So the texture of this mat keeps you from sliding all over the place. So this is good for you if you're gonna be practicing in a heated studio or outside in a hot, humid place, or you just sweat a lot, okay? So nice grippy mat, front and back, so it doesn't slide on the floor, you don't slide on the mat. But then another thing for you hot yogis or anyone practicing in that heated environment or who sweats a lot, you can get just a mat towel that goes over it, okay? And you would just lie this on top of your mat, you would put some water on it, get it to compress down into the mat so it doesn't slip and slide, which defeats the purpose, right? But then it becomes your additional grippy surface and really absorbent, more so than the mat itself would be. So that's that. So for those of you who are looking at this thin mat, like there's no way I'm gonna get by with this thin mat, got you. So I think they make mats up to 10 millimeters thick now, so you get some really good options. This one's about a 5, I wanna say. So if we can see the difference here, it's a little bit thicker, it's got a little bit more cush. It is a grippy mat, front and back, it's reversible. It's still that standard length. So again, if you need something thicker and longer, you're gonna be looking for 5 millimeter or above, and then a long or an extra long length mat. So this is a good option for, again, those of you who have some knee, some ankle, some back issues, because think of like lying, I mean, even lying down flat in Shavasana over an extended period of time, basically just on the wood floor. If that idea of doing that brings up aches and pains in your body, I want you to get a thicker mat. All right, so I want to bring attention to travel mats, which can be extremely helpful, especially if you're just gonna do some simple seated stretches or something like that. But this is a travel mat. It is, for all intents and purposes, a towel with a grippy bottom, okay? So you see how thin this is compared to, even compared to the first mat I showed you, this is thinner. It's thinner than that. So if we look at this, I would say this regular mat, the first mat I showed you, is twice as thick as a travel mat, and this is not a very thick mat. So travel mats, again, a towel basically with a grippy surface, so you can throw it down on the floor of the hotel or wherever you are, and you just have a nice, clean, luxurious surface that you can do your stretches on. Now for some people, this is gonna totally work. You can do a whole power flow, you can do all sorts of things. But again, if you have any kind of issues in the knees, the back, I mean anywhere really, and you just can't be on a hard surface, do yourself a solid and just get a little bit of thicker mat. You could travel with this one and it would still provide you more support than this travel mat will. But again, this travel mat, super thin, very packable. So if it's the only thing that you can take with you, I highly recommend these. Just again, so you can lay them down wherever you are. You don't have to worry about anything on the ground. You can just feel confident in your surroundings. So one last thing I want to bring to mind. We talked about putting the mat towel on top of your mat so that you don't slip off of it because you sweat a lot. You don't just go sliding as soon as you make a move on that mat. Well, there's cool mats out. And since I've gotten this one, there's probably even more. But this mat is by Kool-Aid, shameless plug. And it is a mat that has a towel surface on top. So this is a little bit thicker. It's probably more that standard size, like a 3mm thickness. It's not as thick as that black mat I just showed you. But it has a grippy surface for the bottom. It has the mat towel surface on top. And you would do the same thing. You put this down, you do the same thing as a towel. You probably wet it just a little bit just to give yourself grip. But it's relatively grippy just in and of itself. And it's washable. So you can just do your sweaty practice, take this down, throw it in the wash, hang dry, done. So cuts down having to carry a mat and a towel if that's kind of a bummer to you. At least there's an option for that. So again, when you're considering your mats, just think of what kind of thickness do I need to support my joints, to be really, really comfortable in the practice, because the last thing you want to be thinking about is how your knee hurts or your back hurts or whatever just because of the surface you're on, right? Do you need it to be travel friendly? So do you need it to be very, very light? Because if you're going hiking or backpacking or something, you want to take a mat to have with you. You can take your travel mat and take it on an airplane, super easy, versus these other ones that can get a little bulky. And the length of the mat, right? Do you need a standard length? Are you a taller person, so you need that long or extra long? Look for that. And then do you need something to support a hot, sweaty practice, like a towel or a grippy mat versus a non-grippy mat, or something that combines the mat and the towel together? So just things to consider. I'm always happy to chat about this, so if you need recommendations for specific mats based on your needs, you can always reach out. And yeah, feel free to ask some questions or leave comments about your favorite mats so that I know some other ones to recommend. Take care, be well.